Hi, everyone. My name is Przemysław Tronina, and together with my colleague, Ivan Ivanov, we are co-founders at Auditors Hub, which acts as a broker to services of an international network of auditors, specialized mostly in the fields of food and feed safety. Now, one of the hot topics of the tech industry is the topic of professional recognition bodies. So entities which would be responsible for the validation of auditors' competencies. This is Global Food Safety Initiative's a new approach to the recognition of auditors' competencies, and also the new way to make this profession more attractive to potential auditors candidates. Obviously, such a new scheme of recognition of auditors' competencies raises up lots of questions and discussions in the auditors community. So today, together with Anne Gerardi from GFSI, we will have a chance to address those questions and concerns. First, Anne will make the presentation about PRBs and how it might influence auditors' profession. Later on, we'll address some questions. So please feel free to raise questions during the webinar. There is a possibility to do so. We obviously will not have a chance to address all of them during the webinar itself, but we definitely are going later on to publish Q&A list with all the questions answered and consulted with GFSI. So, Anne, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Przemysław. Thank you very much, Ivan. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are as happy as I am to join for this webinar. Thank you very much to Auditors Hub for inviting GFSI to have the opportunity to explain a little bit about this project. Those of you who know GFSI might be thinking, why is Anne Gerardi here? She's usually in charge of public-private partnerships and global markets program. We are having a transition in the team at GFSI, so I am the one entering a bit the short-term transition. And my colleague, who will be the new senior project and technical manager for the PRB project and for the benchmarking process and for all the technical matters, is Lala Ina, and she just started a few days ago at GFSI. So she will be afterwards your contact point to lead this project. And I will try to answer as much question as possible. We'll try to be as concrete as possible. But I'm sure Przemysław and Ivan, if you do not have all the answers, we'll be able to do another series of webinars in a few months when we have more of the answers to the hot pending questions that the auditors community is having. So, so thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me 1 minute. And actually, sorry about that. Thank you very much. I don't know who did it, but thank you very much for allowing me to share my screen now. So, first, why I want to explain you the context of why we're all doing that today and why we're engaged into this new program of benchmarking professional recognition body, and to tell you where we are and maybe why we don't have all the answers to your questions right now. So why GFSI is looking at auditor qualification? For actually 2 reasons. The big context and the big picture for GFSI is 3 years ago at the Seattle board meeting, there was a strategic new framework that was launched for GFSI. It's called the Race to the Top. And one of the objective of the Race to the Top is to enhance the trust in the GFSI certification and into the GFSI ecosystem, because our members warned us 3 years ago that the trust in the GFSI ecosystem and in the GFSI certification was eroding, and we do not want to let that erodation go further. So there was a strategic framework called the Race to the Top that was started. There are 4 features and 2 phases of this Race to the Top. And here we are talking about the first phase of the Race to the Top with those 4 features. One of the features is to build more trust into auditors and auditors' qualification. And one of the objectives through that is to create this new program actually of recognition of professional recognition body. The second big objective actually is trying to answer a bigger picture, a diagnosis that everyone is doing in the food industry, and that our members of GFSI, industry, retailers, manufacturers, the steering committee of GFSI, I call it the board because 3 years ago it was called the board and now we call them the steering committee. There is a shortage of auditors, and we need to make sure that actually we need to solve that issue collectively. So there are many causes. The average aging of the population. It's also a very complicated job. You need to know a lot. You need to travel constantly. The work-life balance is extremely challenging. And with time, because food safety is this amazing topic where you constantly need to learn more and more and to be constantly updated on the latest food safety scientific updates, technological updates, your qualification requirements have increased continuously. And that has, with time and time, added many redundancies that we think have also drove talents away from the profession. And guess what? Redundancies, we know that's our job at GFSI. GFSI was created actually to eliminate redundancies in the food safety requirements of audits. GFSI was created 22 years ago to harmonize all the food safety requirements in food safety audits by creating a benchmarking harmonization process that will recognize what is the common criteria that needs to be everywhere or in all the supply chain for any standards to provide harmonized certification programs. And we decided just to apply the exact same model with auditors qualification. And that's how the PRB, the professional recognition body idea came up actually. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So there are also various parameters that are impacting the audit output today. The skills, in addition to the knowledge and the expertise of the auditors, the attitudes, the behaviors. And we also think that having this new approach to harmonize will provide, to harmonize the requirements around those parameters, will provide a framework that will align those aspects to provide consistency on the food safety audits execution. And that's exactly what we intended to do 22 years ago on the standards and the food safety criteria. And that's what we want to do today with you guys on the food safety audit execution. So how do we intend to do that? So a professional body is an organization with individual members that are practicing an occupation, a profession, sorry. And actually, sorry about that. And this organization is in charge of maintaining an oversight of the knowledge, the skill that conduct and how we conduct and practice that profession or that occupation. GFSI project with that recognition program of professional recognition bodies is to settle harmonized criteria to recognize program for professional recognition bodies. That will provide a specific objective of dedicating the right competence and to verify in the development of the personal competence. And also the aim is to verify the food safety auditors against the competence requirements that are common to all the GFSI recognized CPOs. So those will be a new set of what we call benchmarking requirements alongside what exists already for the GFSI benchmarking requirements that are dedicated to certification program owners. But those benchmarking requirements will be dedicated to professional recognition bodies. And that's where you should be excited, because now you can have your own benchmarking requirements. Now, what does that mean? It means also that CPO will maintain their CPO-specific requirements. And CPO will be required to only authorize the professional recognition bodies registered auditors. That's also what it means as a first consequence. So where we are, we have a working group that have worked on the benchmarking requirements, and now we are going to start a pilot with a diversity of current PRBs that will test, we hope, the approach. The first step will be to review and validate the qualification, and that we'll hope we do this pilot with a diversity of curriculum and backgrounds, and that will lead to a professional recognition body certificate. So that's where that's the details, right? So the idea again is to make your life easier, your professional life easier as an auditor. This is one of the first objectives. We want you to be able to have professional pathways that are much more easy, because you will have this global recognized ecosystem of trusted PRBs recognized by GFSI. And as an auditor, you will be able to navigate much more easily, because you will have actually harmonization and equivalence in this recognized ecosystem. And we also do that to build much more trust in the execution of the food safety audits. So this is what this slide is saying. We want to create equivalence between professional recognition bodies, so that actually you don't have to take an exam and to pay for that exam to change of standards. So that your qualifications, your experience, your skills and competence are recognized all over this trusted, created ecosystem of recognized professional recognition bodies. This is what it means. By that, we also hope that actually, well, will make the job of auditors, food safety auditors, a bit more attractive and a bit more sexy, as we say at GFSI. And also, what we think is that we would like to actually, by making it more attractive, to attract external talents who might not think about being auditors, but who are working in food safety and that decide to jump to the world of food safety auditors much more easily. And the other way around. But actually, the job is to attract more auditors. So we are going to test several elements in the pilot, and that's why I was telling you that we might need to do a lot of other webinars together. Well, not with me, but with Lalaina in the future, when we'll have started the pilot, to test the concrete elements of that program in reality with professional recognition bodies. We want to test the draft benchmarking requirements for PRBs that have been written by a technical working group. We also want to see how in reality it's going to happen. We want to verify the auditor certificates. We want to see how everything is going to work in detail. What are the benefits of that approach? I think we said it already a little bit, but there is also a lot of optimization in that approach. It's the one-stop shop for all the common auditor competencies. And we come back to the fundamentals of GFSI. The one certified, recognized everywhere was also before for food safety audits. Now it's for auditors too. It's for auditors, professional recognition bodies, and to recognize your competence. There is also a very strong parameter in that approach is the lean and structured approach. So we want to mutualize the efforts toward the qualification, evaluation, and validation. And that's a very important process. The recognition will happen through a multi-layer set of competence. So we acknowledge with this approach that it's not only the diploma that counts. It's the knowledge, the skills, the behaviors, the experience that every every auditor is having on the ground with its boots on the floor on a day-to-day that will also be recognized as every part of every job today in this world. There is also the approach of the extended career longevity in the auditing through a professional development pathway. So we want to make sure that it gives you professional development opportunities, and that those opportunities are actually recognized through this ecosystem as an auditor, and that you can constantly and much more easily and without so many costs as it is today, learn more in the scientific basis, technological updates. You guys are the forefront of all the key changes of food systems. We're asking you more and more to know more on scientific basis. We are asking you to know how to use information and communication technologies to do parts or full audits now. And the way you are going to be trained and you're going to learn is key for the future of food system and food safety. So this is also the approach. So what the pilot will provide? Will clarify the stakeholders' role. All right, who does what in this ecosystem, and who is doing what in this ecosystem. The logistics, it's very important. The cost as well is an essential element. And remember, GFSI was also created to stop redundancies and stop audit fatigues in suppliers, but also to reduce costs. And that's also one of the key elements of the project. And as I said, we review the current requirements. The requirements that are today are just a first draft because we need to be the straw man. Everyone needs to be the straw man to start a project. But the pilot will challenge those requirements. And as for any pilot, we hope it will highlight the unknowns and the challenges that might be happening in the reality. But that's why we're doing a pilot, to actually learn. And now I'm going to stop, and the floor is yours for you to ask us all the questions you want.
Okay, thank you for this information. It's eyes-opening, I would say, because there are many discussions about professional recognition bodies and what are the aims and what are the real goals, and presenting those foundations for the whole project, for the whole race to the top is very important, so that you unveil the real challenges that this new PRBs approach is supposed to solve, all the challenges that it's addressing. So it's great. And we have received some questions. For some of those, I can say that partially, at least, answers were already mentioned, but I will present them anyway. First one, will I lose my current appointment as GFSI auditor when PRBs will start approving auditors?
The idea is no. All right. So The idea is no. No, you
Okay.
will not. The idea is to actually recognize those, and so that you can use them and be recognized as such, as where you are today, and then you can maybe change of standard in the future, or so that's no.
Okay.
The idea is to help, not to disrupt. All right. Even if we know this project is extremely innovative and is going to change, we hope, in a positive way. But that's why we're doing a pilot to actually measure the impact. It's not to disrupt and to mess up with what's going on today.
Okay. We have a second question, which is a very broad one, and I think that in one of the slides you kind of answered it. But what will the new auditor's qualification look like?
So I think this is this one on the aspiring food safety auditor.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what will it look like? You will have in the baseline of this professional recognition body, you will have the auditor competence baseline, the work experience, the food degree, the behavioral skills, the food safety expertise will be the baseline of what will be recognized for auditors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think we have here another question which is kind of related to this one.
Yep.
So I'll just that it's professional recognition bodies will handle the recognition of auditors in all GFSI standards now?
Yes, that's exactly the objective. It is exactly the objective, creating this equivalence.
Okay, why I jumped to this question is because of the slide we see right now is it might suggest that PRBs, yes, this one, that PRBs are rather responsible for the basic competences or competences baseline verification and validation, and that it might suggest that every CPO makes a verification on their own. But from what you're saying, it seems that the ultimate goal is for PRBs to make the verification against the specific CPO's requirements eventually. Is that correct, or are we missing something?
Yeah, it is exactly correct, Przemysław, yes.
Okay, perfect. Do I have to take extra exams except for the one organized by CPOs?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, simple as that. I like such answers. I think we kind of answered that already. But does the approval by PRBs mean extra costs for auditor?
The pilots will tell us about the cost. But as I told you, the initial one of the core objectives is to stop redundancies in terms of costs and efforts. So the overall objective is to actually diminish those costs. But I can't tell you right now. So we want the pilot to test the approach in real to tell us the scale of the impact in terms of cost. And I can't tell you that unless I'm just a promising lady who doesn't have any words right now, if that will be the case.
Okay.
So the pilot will tell us, and I think the next one to answer that question might be Lalaina in a few months after working with some of you and through another webinar.
And another question, does the recognition by PRB mean that each CB, each certification body, will not have to approve me separately as food safety auditor?
No.
Okay, so if we understand from your slides as well, Still, the CBs will be responsible for, well, verification, validation, let's say, of the competencies, even though they were pre-approved by CPOs, by PRBs. Yeah.
Exactly. The CBs keeps all their roles and responsibilities in the existing ecosystem.
Okay.
And they're the one to verify actually the auditor's certificates from the recognized GFSI PRBs, professional recognition bodies. And there will be some addendum to auditor CV actually that against the respective CPO specific models.
Okay. And I see that also we have a septic voice, let's say. What's the point of PRBs? CPOs will continue doing their own exams anyway.
So actually, the idea is actually to harmonize all that. And the idea is so that there is no more exam for each CPOs. Through the GFSI recognition, there will be an harmonized approach with the PRBs.
Okay, perfect. I can see that the list of questions raised elongates very fast. So I don't, yeah, I don't think we'll have a chance to address all those. But as I have mentioned in the beginning, I guess it would have been best if we created a Q&A list and perhaps if GFSI could more thoroughly consider those questions, and later on we would be publishing answers to those questions via Auditors Hub channels. So thank you for presenting the concept and answering some basic questions. Thank you all also for attending the webinar. The number of questions is growing, so we'll be, rest assured we will be communicating with Anne and with GFSI very intensively to address those questions. I really hope that some of them might be really also an input to the pilot project for PRBs. Yes. And later on, we'll have a chance to present those answers, and perhaps it could be also a good reason to make some additional informative webinars or articles or publications which might be useful to the auditors community. Because at Auditors Hub, we really see that there is a kind of uncertainty in the community of auditors about the whole concept. So it's good to really good to address those concerns, and we're going to be supporting the process as much as we can from the side of Auditors Hub. So Anne, thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me. Just two things. First, if you guys want to know what's going on that side, just write to us, all right? If you have any questions, write to us at the GFSI info at theconsumergoodsforum.com, right? This is the best source of information on what GFSI is doing is GFSI, all right? So if you have any questions, you write at GFSI info at theconsumergoodsforum.com. Sarah, our communication manager, and Lalaina will answer you. We are all reading all those emails you are sending us. All the GFSI team is answering behind this GFSI info email address. Second, please stay tuned to the GFSI website. Subscribe to the newsfeed of the GFSI website, because we'll need your feedback as we learn from our mistakes and the challenges and the unknowns from the pilots. And we will want to know from auditors how it's working through Auditors Hub, but we also want to hear. And what we do when we do something at GFSI is that we consult, all right? So there is nothing that we do that will change your world that we will not publish for consultation. So stay tuned on our website, and we want to get your feedback of auditors. We want, the overall objective is to make your life easier as auditors, so that we can have new auditors. So stay tuned so that we can have your feedback. on whatever is going on and the progress of this project in the next months. Those are my points for Mislav that I just wanted to say before we close the webinar. And I wanted to thank all of you again for your time today with me and for being patient and bearing with me. And my non-technical background, I promise you will never have to do and cut with me again, ever again. That will be Lalaina next time. And thank you, Przemysław and Ivan, for inviting us. Thank you, Auditors Hub.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure, and I'm certain we're going to cooperate with the GFSI on further information and feedback to the community of auditors about PRBs. And fingers crossed. Wish you all the best with this project, and let's see how it develops. In the meantime, please feel free or to address all the questions even after the webinar through the Auditors Hub website or our LinkedIn profile. We will be sure, please rest assured that we will be addressing those questions to GFSI as well.
We'll build a very solid Q&A for you on our website so that you have all the detailed answers.
Yes.
I think we can also say that the recording will be on your website, Przemysław, and on ours, on our respective YouTube channels. But again, I'm sure you will find the most solid, comprehensive answers on where we are today through the Q&A that we're going to build together, so that you can find all of the answers you were looking for.
Perfect. That's all what we may help for. So, Anne, once again, thank you very much. Thank you all for attending, and see you soon. Stay tuned to our LinkedIn channel and YouTube channel for some more information in the future about PRB. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let's talk again soon about PRB. Bye-bye.